What's up everybody? For this video, we're going to be going over an options trading strategy using the ORB method and FVGs, or fair value gap. FVG style or term is coined by ICT, so I can't take full responsibility for coming up with FVGs, but they are very helpful, and we can see here using a couple examples exactly what they are and how we can go about it. So first thing first, what the hell is an FVG? So what I'm going to do, start here on the 1 hour. So an FVG is created when price moves so quick that there's an imbalance among sides, imbalance of volume, and price tends to come back to these imbalances. If you guys are familiar with ICT, he uses them a lot on the 1 and the 2 minute time frames to trade futures and get entries. In this case, we're going to use them more for areas of looking to scale in and out and potential profit targets using the ORB entries. So FVG, back to this. I'm going to start here on the hourly. So all an FVG is basically when we have this massive bullish candle that creates a big price gap here. So in this case, it's the high of our candle here to the low of the candle above, which incorporates our big move candle that creates that FVG. Another example here on the downside, we have another one, same thing. The high to the low is our FVG here, and then there's also bearish FVGs as well. So if we have this action up here from February 16th, we'll go low here to our high here. This would be a bearish FVG. I'm going to flip over here to Trading View just because it helps me a little bit keep this clutter out and show you how we can use FVGs in our trading. So in this case, if we look here, we're looking at Tuesday the 21st, our price action here. And before that, what I do every day is chart out my FVGs, because I do use the ORB for my triggers. So I'm not worried about the triggers necessarily, but these FVGs help me a ton with looking at where the hell to scale out, where to take profit, all that good stuff. So in this case, we have this price action here, right? None of this stuff after, whatever. So first thing first, I'm going to look above at the prior trading day. So if I'm preparing here, let's say this is Monday night, I'm preparing for that Tuesday. I'm going to look at the low, mark that low, mark that high, and then we also have an FVG here in between created here on the hourly from our high here to our low here. We also have an FVG above that was created on the prior trading day, and then if we look over here, just look out a little, we have an FVG here. As we notice, this FVG is still open because price has not retested and closed in the bottom of this FVG. It has retested here, but we have not closed. Technically, it would be closed now after this, but we're looking at this trading day. So now I'm going to flip over to the 15 minute here. And on the 15, this is where I get my highs and my lows for the ORB. So our high, 404.9, which actually coincides pretty closely to that 404.6. So I'm just going to leave that 404.6. I'm going to flip over here to the 5 and delete this because it's in the way. Let's go to the 5. All right, whoa. So if we look here at this day, we obviously have a gap down. We can see that. I have my low here. Let me make this a dashed line so it's a little bit easier to see. So we have our low, and then we have this FVG. So this FVG, to me, it just shows that, this is where a potential area where buyers could step in, or we could use that then as a key area for resistance. In this case, where would my entries be? So first thing with ORB, I'm always looking for that second close below. So we get a first close below, second close below, and then we're right on that FVG. This would be, an optimal entry. I like to play that retest, gives me a little bit confirmation. All right, cool. So my first target would be, obviously we need to close below the top of this FVG for a continuation down to the bottom. And we do get that, we get a close here. But I would set my stop right back at that ORB low upon entry. And then I'm aiming for one. I'd like to see this here. I'm not going to scale out there. That's not going to give me very much reward. But I'm looking for the bottom. All right, so my first scale, I'm looking down here. Once this occurs, I'm going to move my stop loss back to the top of this FVG, but I want a close above the top. Because in this case right here, we actually turn that FVG into resistance, and then we fade throughout the day. Not the craziest in terms of speed move, but we do see how those FVGs tend to work when price action enters into them. So we have entry here, right? First target, the bottom of this FVG here at 401.56. Then underneath that, we can chart out levels, and a big one for me would of course be 400. It's a huge psych level, so that's the second target I'm gonna have. After that, I'm gonna target the top of this FVG down here, and we don't fill it in that day. Perfectly cool. We do end up filling it the next day, but those are the targets, and I'm just gonna adjust my stop loss up. I know some people like to use EMAs, moving averages, whatever it may be, and that works too. But this helps me just using price action, keeping my chart as clean as possible, and still giving me good areas in which I can scale out, and knowing where support could potentially come in this case, as we would be playing puts here. Flip back over to SPY Diddy here on TrendSpider, and this would be preparing for Monday. So first thing first, what I'm going to do, I just start here on the hourly, okay? And first, I note that above FVG, so on the top side, this would be my first target, would be inside of this FVG up towards 400. Then I'm going to have to scroll out a little bit. As we notice here, this FVG created on the 20th of January has not been fully filled. It did get touched and bounced. It got touched and bounced again, but it has not been filled. Then, we have another one all the way down here at 385 to 383.96. Not going to worry about that one as much, but I do like to keep note of it. After that, I'm going to mark the highs and the lows of the trading session. So here, I'm just going to flip this to a different shade of line so I can tell a little bit of the difference. All right, so I have my highs and my lows, sell side, buy side liquidity, if you like those terms more. Then I'm going to break this down on the 15. And as we can see here, we can really sharpen on where those FVGs really are. In this 15 minute here, we see an FVG from 398.42 to 398.94. So that's going to be a very big area. I'm going to look if we can push up on the upside. And then downside, let me scroll over a little. All right, come on now. All right, as we can see here, there's a lot of action, but this has technically been filled. This one has not, and this one has not either, but this one is inside of our FVG from the hourly. So I love that here at 393.21 to 392.94. And then the orb, if you guys are not familiar, it's my go-to strategy. It's just using the high and low of the first 15 to make triggers. I'll tag a video down below in it, but I have really liked to implement where these FVGs are on the hourly and the 15 to give me a precise time frame or where to look when trying to get out and using them for exits. It's one that definitely takes a little bit of time, but once you really look at how well respected and how price tends to attract to these FVGs, it honestly blows my mind. And that's something I got to get credit to ICT too. I'm not, the biggest ICT fan in the world. I think there's, things here and there, but this FVG stuff, it blows my mind. And I would encourage you guys to just look at previous price action and see how well it really attracts to those FVGs.